Hello everyone, it is day 5 of Banned Books Week 2021 and today we are continuing our discussions about and surrounding Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. Today's drink is 1 part black tea and 1 part black coffee. It sounds weird, but I promise it's delicious. I don't make it very often because I forget about it, honestly, but it's something that I conjured up a couple years ago and I really enjoy the taste of and highly recommend. So if you're looking for something new to experiment with, try that. And I hope whatever you're drinking is delicious as well. Cheers, my friends. Let's get started. So if you can't see my Planned Parenthood shirt today, I wanted to talk about your perception of sex as a child and into your adolescence, because that is very much a thing that Marjane discusses in Persepolis. So I want to give a couple caveats before I start this discussion in case you're new here, in case you don't know. Number 1, I grew up in a very religious environment, and number 2, I am asexual, so a lot of things I'm sure are different for me than would be for other people, and how I perceived and lived through things. But I just wanted to clarify that in case anyone is wondering where I'm coming from or they have polar opposite opinions and experiences. That is probably why, but I just wanted to make a note of that before we get started today. So when I think about what people thought about sex or talked about when they talked about sex when I was a kid, I think of a lot of embarrassment and ignorance, and not really knowing how to approach the topic and really wanting to keep it away from you, which I think is very dangerous. Obviously, you can see I'm very pro sex ed. I'm working on a sex ed project right now. And I think that gives a lot of negative connotations to sex to a lot of people. Marjane touches on elements of this a bit in Persepolis when, you know, her friend mentions she's on the birth control pill, and she's like, no, it's not for, you know, regulating myself or anything like that. Like, genuinely, it's so I can have sex. And Marjane is kind of shocked by this because, you know, you never have sex outside of marriage and in this fundamentalist religious culture, and if you do, it's something you should be ashamed of, you know. And I grew up like that too. I heard that a lot growing up. I also didn't get any sex ed, like any good solid sex education. And again, that's very, very dangerous. And I'm working to fix that. I hope with my big project that I'm doing right now that I'm not really sharing a ton about, but stay tuned, I promise. Yeah, kind of like I said earlier, people don't really know how to talk about sex, specifically in the realms of teaching children how to protect themselves when they do come of age. And I think that's very, very unhealthy in a society, because sex is a part of life and a part of culture and a part of society that you literally cannot get rid of. Like, people obviously do it for fun and for love and all those other good things, but also, like, it's how you make more people, so you can't have a society without reproduction. And to shelter people from this very crucial element of a society is very, very dangerous, in my opinion, especially, you know, you can get STDs, STIs, or, you know, consent issues. Like, my new end for my videos is literally have safe and consensual sex, because nobody tells you this if you grow up you know, in a very religious area or a very conservative area. You know, it's such a taboo that it hurts people. And then you get older and your friends start having sex, or you yourself start having sex, you know, and you might not know what to do, or your friends might not know what to do, or you're getting your needed sex ed from things like pornography, which is not a accurate representation of human sexuality most of the time, you know, like it's produced, it's scripted, it's glamorized, you know, versus just sitting down with a health expert and explaining, this is what your body does, this is what you need to protect yourself from physically when it comes to, you know, STDs, STIs, unwanted pregnancies, you know, or emotionally and psychologically in terms of consent. And yeah, sorry, this I could go on and on. I like to keep these Banned Books Week videos pretty concise and short because there's a lot of them I have to do in a very short period of time and a lot of ideas, and I could, believe me, I could go on and on and on about sex education, specifically sex education for, I think adolescence is the most important time, because that's when you start awakening, for lack of a better term. So what do you think? This is basically me relaying my experiences and opinions and stuff. I didn't really raise any questions, I guess, but just what was your experience with sex ed like growing up? How was sex treated growing up? I'm really curious, especially if you have a differing experience from me or Marjane did. So again, I could get really heated about this topic because sex ed is very important, and teaching children how to have healthy sexual relationships when they're older is very important, and I don't think we're doing a good job at all. Let me know what your experience was. I hope you had a very positive experience with talking about sex growing up, although I'm sure a lot of us probably did not. Across generations, across cultures, you know, myself and Marjane had very similar experiences in this. So that's it for today. Don't forget to come back tomorrow and Saturday to finish off the week. I'll talk to you then, alright? And until next time, have safe and consensual sex. Bye everybody.